gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on Sport.
Man, welcome in. It's in-game live game day here on a wonderful Wednesday. Although really not if you're a betting fan, although we'll make do, that is for sure. Only 2 hockey games, 2 dopey Cup NBA games, handful of college basketball games. None of them are actually great, although we do have some winning systems in play tonight, including one going on right now with Bryant looking for the upset over St. John. Love that play, Dave. Just a classic letdown spot for St. John's this weekend. Got some baseball news to get to, college football news, which is just mind-boggling to me. So what's going on, my friend? How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm great. Listen, it was a big holiday event yesterday, and we were dressed festively. I don't even know how to say the word, but festive for the occasion. And then today, you know, we get this. I think it's groundbreaking. I think it's, sports-wise, earth-shattering. There it is right there. Bill Belichick, one of the most successful NFL coaches of all time, 72 years old, is going back to college. You remember the movie Back to School? Rodney went movie. Back to school. Oh, yeah. What a movie. This might end up like that. Without the triple Lindy, of course, but This is incredible. So we're all North Carolina out tonight because you're right. There's not a lot of games, but you can't keep calling this Cup stuff dopey. This is good. These are the games last night. I reaffirmed my love and desire for the OKC Thunder last night. Like, that team wants to win this thing. They were playing. That crowd was energized. I'm still not sure about that ridiculous blue court. It's a little bit tough on the eyes, but man, that was fun. And that team's coming to Vegas, and they're going to win it. I loved it.
All right. You might be the only one. How many tickets you think? What the arena seats about 20,000, I imagine, 18, 20,000.
I'm selling it out.
So nobody's buying tickets for that.
There's no NBA
Las
team
Vegas.
here.
You don't have an NBA team. Yeah.
There's no NBA team.
True.
You get to see these guys, up close, play basketball in meaningful basketball games where they're trying because they're trying to win the cash. So I don't know. I inquired last night. I offered to take the kids. They're going to be home from college. The big ones are going to be home. And I got to be honest, they weren't that excited about it, but I am. And I already, I put in for the for the expense report for you and Vincenzo. And if Matty G can tag along, we can come out. You'll be excited to sit in the arena and watch the game, right? Pick up some refereeing.
Oh, yeah. It's an NBA game. Yeah. So, haven't been to that many NBA games. Usually, when I was working like as a reporter, it was basically hockey, football, baseball. Those were the three. So NBA was not that often. So that would still be a thrill, a little bit of a thrill. All right, let me start with North Carolina before we get to the games. I'm not sure which side I understand less. There's been some buzz about Belichick, being the coach for a year or two, and then a written, unwritten, whatever handshake promise that his son gets the head coaching job when he retires. If that's the case, then I understand why he would be doing it. Otherwise, I don't. I don't get why a 72-year-old man is going to want to deal with college football in 2024. 2022, 21, 20, okay. But with all this NIL stuff and all the ass-kissing you have to do, and all the players making more money than all your assistant coaches, that's so anti-Bill Belichick. It's not even funny. And then from North Carolina's standpoint, you just kicked out an old man. No offense to Mac Brown, but you're replacing one 70-year-old with another in 2024-25 when the recruiting battles and all the wars you got to go through. I mean, for what? A couple of years maybe at most? I don't get it.
It's going to be very different. The recruiting battles are going to be fought by other younger guys. He talked about in his what I called a manifesto. I mean, he's going to have a staff, a recruiting staff. They're probably never going to go to practice, but they're going to make sure that everything's taken care of that needs to be taken care of off the field. And anyone that is someone who's of interest or wants to come to the school is going to get the process done, and then there's going to be a football staff and all of the this could change college football if it works, Scott. It's going to change the way all business is done if it
won't
works.
It won't work.
It won't work.
I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work. Dave, there are head coaches, even Nicky Quick, right? And there's no more bigger, SOB than Nick Saban, right? Even Nick Saban in the locker room after winning championships would be on the phone with recruits. I've seen it. Talking to recruits for the following year. You think Belichick is going to do that? And you're right. He may not be knocking on doors. He may be hiring people. But, the guy that is willing to knock on the door, DeBoer in Alabama or whoever, right? Usually the SEC team or ACC team, Dabo Swinney. Dabo's going to go to that recruit. Hey, listen. I'm at your doorstep. You can't even get on the phone with Belichick. How much does the head coach really like you if he's sending people out here and doing his dirty work? I'm in front of your face. I'm willing. This is going to be a colossal failure. An absolute colossal failure. I'm telling you right now. No kid
now who sounds
in
like
college,
the old guy. No, those kids, they don't ask those questions no more. They don't want to know. They don't even want to take the call. You know what they want? How much am I making? And when do I get it? And someone's going to tell them exactly how much they're going to make and exactly when they're going to get it. And they're going to get what they want. And it's now become a business more than ever. And I'm telling you, if it works, other schools are going to have to ramp up the way they do business. And it's going to have to be, you're going to have a division of labor. Michael Lombardi is leaving to go be his GM. I just got the text right now, so I was just looking at it on my phone. Michael Lombardi, who's a media guy and is on other shows and has his own podcast and all that other stuff, is going to be one of his GMs. The guy was a GM in the league. So
I get it.
It's different. Everything's changing very, very rapidly. And I don't know. From a and it's a micro thing that we're looking at with the betting. But man, this is good. If you can figure this out, you can do this on a different level. You can compete because you'll get kids. I think the key will be if they stay. You'll actually build a program. If you can convince kids to come, and if you come here, you're going to be ready for the NFL. they're going to get a lot of talent. They're going to get a lot of talent pretty quickly.
I don't think they will. Because, listen, you're right. It's about the money. I get that. And any kid will go anywhere if you pay him enough money. That is for sure. But I think somewhere along the line it's going to be, okay, the money is equal between 5 teams. So where do you want to go? You go to North Carolina, you don't know who your head coach is going to be in 3 years. All right? You come to Alabama, I'm here. I'm set. You come to Ohio State, I'm here. I'm set. You come to Michigan, I'm set. So you want to go to North Carolina and maybe deal with the kid's son, maybe? Or, Belichick decides it would be so easy to out-recruit North Carolina. It's not even fun. I don't think it's going to get anybody. I really don't. And we've seen, Nebraska's had one of these GMs for a number of years now. How's the Nebraska program look? There's other schools that have hired like GM types to kind of run this NIL stuff, and it just, it hasn't worked out. Who was the basketball writer there? What's his face? He went last year. So you're right. You are hiring these guys, but
right.
I don't think it's going to make a difference. I really don't.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
I think it's big news today, and I think it's going to be big news leading up to the season, obviously, and what his role will be vital in getting kids to go there.
Yeah. I want to see Belichick's face when a kid asks him for more money. That's what I want to see.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids, he wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid, just getting underway. Talk a little Bill Belichick to the North Carolina Tar Heels, which is still crazy. I tell you, the other dopey story that came out today was my idiotic Red Sox. Only my Red Sox are going to trade for a pitcher who was the lead pitcher on the worst team in the history of baseball. I mean, really, you think about that. I mean, who is trading for any Chicago White Sox pitchers? My dopey Red Sox.
Wait a second. You're not happy with this move?
No, I don't like the move. This is the same move that this. This is the same guy that didn't want to get traded. No, he's not. The White Sox won like 5 out of his 35 starts last year. Remember, he was the go against guy all the time. The odds were crazy. They were actually giving him credit for winning, and they didn't win any games. And then he didn't even want to get traded at the trade deadline. Well, what pitcher on the worst team literally in the history of baseball doesn't want to get traded at the trade deadline? And this is the guy we traded for. What kind of competitive spirit does he have?
They got a bigger haul for him now. That it was all orchestrated. And he's going to Boston. You got a big left-hander to kind of get right, maybe second in the rotation. I don't know. I think it's a great move. You
ever been to Fenway
like
Park? Ever been to Fenway Park where the left field wall is about 50 feet from home plate? Yeah, let's bring in some more left-handed pitchers. Who's running the Red Sox, right? Mr. Magoo? I mean, what are you doing? We got a short left field wall. It's set up for every right-handed batter in the history of baseball. Meanwhile, there's about 7 different left-handed batters in the Red Sox lineup, and now we're going to go make a trade for a left-handed pitcher to help all the right-handed, visiting teams.
Right.
Stupid.
You're not down with this? Oh,
no.
man.
And this is the same team, by the way, that traded. This is the same team that traded away the National League Cy Young Award winner this year for a bag of bones in Chris Sale, who we are still paying for, by the way.
Well, I mean, he didn't have the greatest success the last couple of years in Boston. You guys were running him out of town.
He did this year. Got to wait it out. Wait it out.
You know, he went to Atlanta. I mean, they got a ballpark there with, deeper fields and stuff. Like, he did pitch great. I mean, he won the Cy Young. So, I don't know. Maybe he could be a young Chris Sale. No?
No. I'll look it up here. I think it was 5 wins, but I want to be sure.
They only
White
won
Sox,
50 games all season. They weren't
he's
a good
the main
baseball
reason
team.
why. He was the ace of the staff.
They put him on a pitch count. They didn't even let him throw through 3 innings. That was it. 3 innings is all you got from after the All-Star break. They kind of shut him down. It wasn't his fault. Cy Young wouldn't have been able to win pitching for the White Sox this year, Wetzel. Cy Young won 511 games. He would have had a losing record for the White Sox. What are you talking about? Man, you're on edge today. I don't like this. You know you
games.
Won the Grand Salami last night by 1 goal.
By 1 goal.
You won this
by 1 goal, yeah.
1 goal. I was sweating at that late game. There were so many goals. And one game had 9. The other game had 8. We got these people, Dougie D's, tweeting at us, keeping track. I'm doing the math. My wife's like, "What are you watching this game for?" I said, Uncle Scott had under in the salami. And she's like, "Well, how many goals?" I said, "It was 77. And he needs under." And he said, "It's right there. It's going to fall right there." It was a good number. Or 67. Whatever. 67 it was. Yeah, 67. But it was close.
I need a scoreless Florida-Seattle third period and a 1-goal Vancouver-St. Louis third period in order for it to come out and it did. And I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, it was.
But to be fair, I also got 5 goals in the goofy Minnesota-Utah third period. Where that was looking like that was going to go under. That's the game that kind of put it in trouble. The 5 goals in the third in that game.
Hold on.
And then one
Mr.
overtime
Bob.
game. So really 6. So
the other game that put it into the jackpot for sweating was the third period of the Winnipeg and Bruins game. And if you didn't see that,
right.
I mean, complete chaos. The Jets keep scoring goals, so the Boston Bruins go old-time hockey. Let's just try to beat everybody up. There's multiple fights, multiple bedlam. I mean, that was like a scene out of Slapshot, which, kids, if you haven't seen the movie Slapshot, you must see the movie Slapshot. It's one of the best hockey movies, let alone movies of all time. So you need to see it. But, yeah, that game got ridiculous. And when that final was 8-1, I said, oh, my, this is going to be the one. They got 9 goals in this game. And all those goals came, over half of them came in the third period on power play, and Winnipeg pouring it on. I said, man, Scott's going to be mad tomorrow. So you won it, and you're still upset. I don't know what you're so upset about. Crochet?
That would have been funny. Yeah. I mean, like, listen, you give up all these prospects. I mean, I know prospects are a dime a dozen, but, one of them was a first-round pick for this past year, a top 12 pick. So, some of these guys got to pan out, you would think. I mean, I don't mind trading prospects.
But lost Soto. Now is the time to attack. Let's go win this division. Let's bring baseball back for the Red Sox a little. We've been away for a little bit since we traded Mookie. Let's go get some guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like I said, I don't mind that, but just I don't want a pitcher that was the ace of the team that's the worst in the history of baseball. I mean, who makes that trade? It doesn't make any sense. You go get all the other starting pitchers. Go get Chris Flexen next, right? Call up the White Sox. We'll give you our entire farm system. Give me your starting pitchers. I mean, just.
I, as a Pirate fan, would love to get Crochet. That would be fantastic. I'm waiting. We traded for some guy, Cleveland first baseman. I don't remember his name. I got the shrew texting me right now saying, what about your Pirates? What about my Pirates? They're not doing anything. I love the hot stove, but when your team doesn't do anything, that's worse than your team who did something and you don't like the trade. We never trade for anybody.
I must say, it's got to be tough being like a Pirates or Marlins, fan.
Oh.
Wow. It really does have to be tough, I must say. All right, same game parlay coming up next.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddies, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
Hi, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Little SGP, same game parlay time. We don't have a whole lot tonight, but we have enough for a little SGP. So why don't we go with the Houston Rockets and Golden State Warriors, the second game of our, Cup championship, I suppose. This is the quarterfinals.
NBA Cup. Just call it for what it is.
98 Cup, is that what they're calling it? 2024, I thought this is. Oh, NBA. Okay, now I got you. All right, the NBA Cup, right? So we got 2 games. One's underway. So let's use Golden State and the Houston Rockets. Well, I do like the Rockets. I just don't see any motivation for Golden State to play this game. I mean, it's a veteran team. What do they care? These are extra games. These don't like the standing games. Like the regular round games are in a standard. That's part of your 82. But these are not. These are all extra. So what is the point? So give me the Houston Rockets. I like them. You see it there. We're going to go with over 221.5. That's the only dicey one, but I think we'll get some points in the game. Over Jalen Green, 19.5 points. He averages 19.5. He's hit this number 3 of his last 5 games. So I'm pretty sure he's going to get this number. The only one, I just don't think, again, that they're going to be motivated. So if Draymond Green's not motivated, one of 2 things are going to happen. One, he's going to, well, one of 3 things. 1, he's going to foul out. 2, he's going to get himself kicked out. Or 3, he's not going to really take part in the game. So give me under 7.5 points, Draymond Green. Nice little 10-1 parlay there.
Wow, that's not bad. We almost got this thing yesterday. The total got us, right? The same game parlay. That was the one. We sniffed it out. The other ones were easy. I kind of like it. I think, again, we got to worry about the total. But I don't know. I mean, this is between the same game parlay, and then the producers always chime in with something, and they come with this one. Steph Curry made threes over 4.5. I don't know about this one, boys. This is it. We might have bitten off a little bit more than we could chew with this one. I think this is a little high. I mean,
5's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Like, I'd have rather gone 4+, fellas, if we're just, 4+. I think because 4 is the number, but you went a little extra. That's okay. It's we'll have to check the price, what over 4.5 was, because I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, your same game parlay, that looks good. I mean, and we'll have we don't have an official Black Cloud play, but we got Colby coming up, and then we got Dubsy later, and maybe we'll be able to come up with let Dubsy kind of take a Black Cloud play of the night for the boys. See if he can come up with something. Put a little pressure on him. I like because he always talks about dealing with pressure and being a golfer, and this guy, I'm worried about Dubs. I'm not worried about Colby.
He's a West Coaster anyway.
He
might be able to get one of those.
Yeah. He has become a West Coast guy officially, out in L.A. But he was kind of a West Coast guy living in Australia, whatever he was doing down there. So, yeah, little soft, this guy, Dubsy. But he'll be.
You know what I like today? That's I don't want to jinx myself here, but
what?
Believe it or not, college basketball, and we talked about it at the very, very top there, Bryant versus St. John's. All right? Bryant was a, 20 point underdog, I think it was, to St. John's.
Loved this game. What are you even talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
St.
21.
John's,
this thing closed 21, 22 at one place.
Yeah, right? St. John's leads by 3. 11 minutes left. Well, 13 minutes, almost 14 minutes left in the second half.
Wow.
Here's why I love Bryant. This is the advantage of living in the area, right? So St. John's last game day this past Saturday, they honored Louis Carnesecca, sadly passed away a week and a half ago. They brought all the pomp and circumstances out for this game. They played Kansas State, right? Patino's wearing the same jersey, the same sweater.
Oh,
right, the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
Right? Although the sweater was not the same colors, right? I mean, would it really hurt them to make it identical? I mean,
tried.
It's
it was
not that
close.
hard. I think we talked about it. Yeah, it was close, but the poor guy's dead. Close doesn't count. Anyway, you talk about a classic letdown spot. Just an absolute classic letdown spot. You go from that to Bryant
on a Wednesday. Right?
On a Wednesday? 3 people in the stands, probably. Right?
Yeah.
We're leading by 5.
Have you ever been to the gym at St. John's?
Oh, yeah. Many times. I used to cover St. John's, the local radio station. Yeah. All right. More coming up. Colby's coming up.
those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, hour number one, bringing in our first guest of the evening. We have him on all the time. We do appreciate that. Colby Dant, the College Experience Podcast. Check it out at your favorite little podcast stores. Colby and Dave and I were talking about the St. John's game. I love these little goofy angles, but man, that was just a classic letdown spot. And here they are in a nip and tuck game against Goofy Bryant. I'm sure a lot of books might not even have had the game, but did you have the angle? Anything St. John's and Bryant? You know college basketball as good as anybody, really, honestly. Do you know anything about Bryant and where you're playing this game at all tonight?
Uh-oh.
Must have lost. I stunned him. Maybe he's going to go back and do a little research on.
That was a stunner right there.
No,
okay. All right. We're going to get Colby back here. Yeah. That's fine.
He's doing his research on Bryant.
No, he already did the research on Bryant. I'm not worried about Colby. He already has the research. All right, bring him back. Hey, Colb, good to see you.
Yes. Did you get that question or no?
And you know what I mean? I got the question and I started to answer before I realized I was talking about.
All right. No problem.
Right, we'll hook up with Kobe. He's got a connection problem. You know, the weather, Verizon. I heard 2 loud bombs in my backyard. No kidding, this afternoon. And I got a text from Verizon saying 2 of our generators blew up. So if you're having any issues, don't worry. We're going to fix it. 2.
Wait a second.
I thought my backyard was blowing up.
You just buried the lead. You have 2 Verizon generators in your backyard? What are you talking?
Not my backyard, but I heard it from my backyard.
You're
like something.
You're right there. Okay.
I must be. Holy 2 crap. Within the last 10 minutes apart. Boom. I heard someone yell, right? And then 10 minutes later, I heard another generator blow up. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
I thought you were going to blame it on the weather. The weather apparently. Is it a bomb cyclone or something? The kids called me and said, "Daddy, we're back east. What is a bomb cyclone?" I didn't even know what to tell them.
I don't know what that is either.
It's a big thing. Yeah. Okay. Is Colby back?
Let's welcome Colby back.
Yes.
There we go.
There he is.
Nice.
Yes. All right.
All right. Fire away, Colby. College basketball.
Yeah, my apologies, guys. For I don't know what's happening here, but I would say Bryant. Back to the Bryant St. John's game. Phil Martelli Jr. Has done a good job, I think, with Bryant this year. They've been kind of a darling of mine, but I stayed away from this game just because St. John's was a team that I thought was capable of making the Final Four this year. I did think it was a letdown spot. My co-host on my show loved Bryant, but I stayed away just because of how. The ammunition that I think Patino had, but it was a classic letdown spot. So I mean, we pick every game on my pod, so I took Bryant, but I didn't want to actually place the wager because of the potential of this St. John's team.
Fresno State is at BYU. BYU shook up the college basketball world yesterday with announcing they got the number 1 recruit to go there next year. He's not there tonight. BYU's a gigantic favorite. I mean, you don't see 25 or 25 and a half usually. Are you laying it with BYU or are you taking it with Fresno?
Yeah, I'm laying it. Fresno, I do think's got some scoring, some guards that can score. I was at Mountain West Media Days, got to sit down with Coach Wahlberg, and I just think they're a couple years away. He basically got a JUCO team. And you're going into this is one of the toughest places to go and grab a win, the momentum and let alone the elevation. And then you got BYU with that crowd behind it, which I feel like they're one of the more underrated crowds. And really this BYU team's super talented. And you can see, I think Danny Ainge has been a part of their collective bringing in talent there to BYU, former guard there. I think BYU is going to destroy them. I like laying that big number just because I just don't know that Fresno's ready for a road environment like that.
All right. How about you got a couple of double-digit favorites here. We'll start with San Diego State laying 13.5 against California Baptists, 5-14.
Yeah, I like Baptist. I think Baptist is better than their 5-4 record. San Diego State, I will say, Brian Dutcher does such a great job with that program. I do think they're scoring better than they have in a few years, specifically off the dribble. I feel like they're just a better offensive team than they've been, but I don't like laying, they like to draw at the clock. They like to bring you in the muck and play in the mud. It seems like, almost Tony Bennett style. So I think Rick Croy and Cal Baptist, this guy came over from Randy Bennett at St. Mary's. They've done a great job there. 5-4. They should have beat UC Riverside, blew a big lead in that game. They're better than their record. They're a good team with good culture. I think they could stay within that number.
Everybody knows the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State from the tournament usually, and they're playing at Nevada tonight, the Wolfpack. You would think Wolfpack minus 11.5 is the spread. But, man, I always pick the South Dakota State Jackrabbits just because they're called the Jackrabbits and they have really cool logo. See it right there. Any shot they cover the spread tonight, Cole?
I like them to cover the spread. I will say I came in super bullish on Nevada in the preseason. And out the gate, first 5 or 6 games, they look like the real deal. But they've sputtered really in the past 2 or 3. And you look at what Eric Henderson does at South Dakota State. They lost a bunch of production from a year ago. They look good again with the brand new team pretty much. You got love the big man Oscar Clough. If you haven't caught him, he's averaging I think like 19 and 12. And I think he can match up well with Nick Davison, the big man for Nevada. So 10.5, or I think that's the last I saw it at. I think the Jackrabbits can stay in that range there and make this thing a game. I think it's 2 good teams, and if anything, I think it might even have a little bit of a coaching edge to South Dakota State there.
All right, speaking of coaching, what's your impression? College Experience podcast, so you do football obviously as well. Give me your impression. Belichick to North Carolina.
I mean, must watch, right? Must watch now. It screams kind of Deion Sanders. Like, this is shocking. I don't think there's, I even Deion, at least we saw at Jackson State. So just to jump down, he has never coached in college. I know his dad did coach at North Carolina, and I think that was the tie-in there. But I've seen several reports that they're going to have a top 15 NIL collective. That was part of his commitment in his 400-page thesis that he wrote for them. So North Carolina, I've always wondered why they didn't throw more money into football. It seemed like they always took basketball serious. I think much like Duke, and you've seen this with Duke, like with their collective. They're realizing that football drives the bus. Basketball's in the back. You better get your football program together. You're going to end up in the Ivy League. So I think it's fascinating. Obviously, he's 72 years old. But I think Steve Belichick, his son, will be involved, the defensive coordinator from Washington. I expect him to come over. It hasn't been announced yet, but I'm assuming that's one of these things you're going to hand the keys to the son. And, hey, it's going to be must watch, so they're going to draw a big number every week.
Do you think it's going to work? Because I would give it the favorite to work. Scott is adamant it's not going to work. Where are you at with this?
I mean, they'll definitely be a bowl team year in, year out. The question is can you win in the ACC all the way? They've always had this issue. I think it can work. I'm going to say yeah because it's a new day and age of college football.
The key word there is new, and that is not something you say with Belichick. I mean, at 72 years old, new is not in the description. But all right, if you say so. Colby, great job as always, my friend. Let's get some winners tonight.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me as always.
You got it, man.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
I'm actually not even on a side today. Yeah. And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas? I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave, thanks to Colby Dent. Joins us from time to time. The College Experience Podcast. Check it out again at your favorite little podcast store. Speaking of college basketball, Dave, I tell you, I told you I like Bryant, right? And they're hanging tough. Although St. John's is starting to pull away, I must say 71-56 now, 73-56. So Bryant with 41 points in the first half, only 15 here in the second half. So we got to tell St. John's to stop, St. John's. You proved your point. Here's another one. This one would be even bigger. How about 8-1, fifth in the nation, nationally ranked blue blood of all blue bloods, Kentucky at home as a 32-point favorite tonight, leading not only toothpaste Colgate, but an especially bad toothpaste. 2-8 Colgate, 37-33 late first half. Can you imagine Colgate knocking off Kentucky in Kentucky?
No.
I mean,
these things always happen like this, right? First half good, second half run out, right?
Right.
They just don't have the depth. The bench is probably a lot shorter. Couple guys get in foul trouble, or you miss a couple shots and they get tired, and then it just starts to extend. Now, is there an in-game number for that? Because there's no way
I'm
that
looking.
Kentucky's covering the initial.
FanDuel.
Yeah, hold on.
FanDuel doesn't have one. I don't see it.
Oh, 17.5. I got it here. 17.5. The total's 153.5. Yeah. We can lay 60 to 1 on the money line. Yeah, they're winning.
They have to win, right? And the other thing that happens is like Colgate. In this case, it's Colgate. Right? They go into halftime. They're down, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, and they're as giddy can be. Right? I mean, they are just through the. We're only down 5 against Kentucky. Oh, they're so excited, and then they just kind of, I think, lose focus a little bit second half. Then you throw Kentucky really kind of concentrates a little bit more, and you get what's happening to Bryant right now. So. I like, if FanDuel had it, and I say I don't see it, I would lay it. Oh, you know why I don't have it? Because they're Colgate. Colgate's in New York.
Oh,
okay. New York.
Okay. Yeah.
So 17.5 or 19.5?
17.5 in game right now.
I'd lay that.
I'd
lay that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll do it for the show. I'll do it for the show right now.
They got to come back.
And we can lament this after the fact. I can do what people like to do all the time when they watch us or talk about us, and they're like, "Yeah, this guy had this guy had that." I had a Twitter thread today from some guy named Bud Weiser. He said we don't do enough picks on the shows. I didn't even know what he was talking about. He said, "Do you not watch the shows?" Like Wetzel has a podcast. It's called Opposite Picks. Like it's all he does is picks. We talk about every game on here. We do picks. His name was Bud Weiser. I mean,
just like barbed wire. Yeah.
Hey.
Or Seymour Butts.
That's a different one. That's not the same. But yes,
bend over.
But don't get started right now, please.
Greatest game I ever had. Even better than Trouble and Chutes and Ladders and all the others. A game called Manhunt. It was like Clue, basically, but for younger kids, right? And they had a book, and they had all these characters that were suspects, and they used like all those names. Barbed Wire, Bend Over, Seymour Bud, the whole. Right. There was like 30 of them that used. I loved it. I loved it. So.
Can you still get this game?
I think so. Well, I didn't see that. You probably on eBay. You probably can. Maybe Amazon. But yeah, probably. Well, I don't know. Board games are like out of style. Yeah, but Google it. Definitely great game. Like it was like Clue. Same thing as Clue. So,
we got some board game that we played over Thanksgiving. We're a big board game family, and like after everybody eats in the holidays, like the kids are coming home on Saturday, and I'm sure at some point we're gonna break out either a blackjack game at the table or I'm the dealer. Or, we haven't delved into craps yet, but maybe we'll probably play craps or something at some point. But we get out the board games, and they got this ridiculous board game that I played with, my mother-in-law and my wife and my little daughter, and it was called like Hues and Clues or something. And there's a big board, and you get a card, and it gives you coordinates. So it's like G52 and B7, and there's a color. And you have to describe the color in one word, and the people guess it. So, like, say it's like the color of my sweatshirt right now. I would say to you, I would look at you and go, sky. And you would have to go and look at this board of all the different colors, the different blues and, light, whatever, and go, okay, sky. And then I would say Tar Heels. and you would have to look at the board and you would guess a square. And if you guessed it, you got more points than me, but I got points for providing it. I swear it lasted like 10 minutes. I'm like, can we get Trivial Pursuit or something? Like, this is boring. It's board games. Not all board games should be made, is my point.
That's true.
And
yes.
And this board game was made, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go on the hunt for Manhunt. I think the kids will get a kick out of that game. They'll
You'll like
it.
Manhunt. If you like Clue, like I said, you'll like Manhunt. Same
love
thing.
Clue. I love
That's
Clue.
a great game, right? You know,
Oh,
in the
it's one of the
boardroom
best
with the
of all
hammer
time.
That's a good one. That's a great one. So,
Have you seen that on the PlayStation? There's a Clue game on the PlayStation.
Really?
It will captivate you for hours, Wetzel. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, yeah. Me and the 10-year-old play it all the time. Yeah, because it makes you think.
Oh, right.
It's tremendous.
And calculated stuff. Yeah. I like that stuff.
They added 4 rooms on the original.
Ooh.
So now there's more rooms and there's more characters. It's
More
all
possibilities.
it's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Well, you had the gun, you had the hammer or the billy club there, you had the rope. I forget what the other ones were. Yeah.
26-14 run for the Hawks. They're leading the Knicks now. Look at this. They're back.
73-68, they're back.
Woo!
They're back. 217.5. Still siding
Hawks
towards
wanna
the
come
under.
to Vegas.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, in-game live, game day here on the grid. Normally, at this time, we would have a Black Cloud play of the day. But, to be fair, as we always are here, there's just not that many games. There's no more hockey games that aren't underway. There's no more basketball games that aren't underway. There's only a handful of college basketball games. And there's nothing left on the basketball schedule that I really, really like that is worthy of being declared a Black Cloud play of the day. So On rare occasions, we just have a pass. So no black cloud for those that are tuning in at the specific time. I will say, though, Kentucky laying 15.5, if that's the halftime line, up 2 against Colgate, 38-36. Yep. I mean, again, this is 2-8 Colgate. This is not just like a decent or a really good. This is a bad Colgate team. This team, Colgate, let me see who they lost to, Dave. They've lost to Drexel, Syracuse, NC State, Harvard. Okay. You know, I will say their schedule is at least halfway decent. Cornell, Northeastern, App State. The only team they beat was NC Wilmington and SUNY Canton. So, I mean, they played some big boys. They played, like, decent teams. I was expecting them to be losing to, like, Topeka High, right? But they've actually lost to, you know, decent clubs.
There you go again, underestimating Topeka High.
Topeka High, I know.
Yeah, you underestimate them for decades. They have a quality team.
They deserve more respect.
They do.
So when do you get to the point that you bet Cornell on the money line, or Colgate rather on the money line, if it's a 2-point game?
I think as soon as you think they're going to win the game, like this, you got to wait late, like
5 minutes,
because
6.
I mean, you've missed the price now. Like they were down, thanks to our friend CBW who watches the show. He tweeted us. They were down 17-0, and they've come all the way back. Yeah, they were down 17-0.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So they got this thing all the way back to being down 2. And now, you know, how does that usually end up? When you're down a gigantic amount, right? And you come all the way back, and I mean, even at halftime, you're tied. Yes, the biggest lead of the game for Kentucky was 17. So it was 17-0. And obviously, Colgate's never led. They're not going to win the game. I won't even let you partake in that wager. It's not happening.
Man, I wish FanDuel offered that. I'd be all over Kentucky. Knowing that they have, not that we need any more proof, but knowing that they even had that 17-0 run. Like, when they come to play, they come to play. They jumped out. They took their foot off the pedal. Maybe they put some subs in. Now they're going to be read the riot act. Now they're all going to be ticked off. Coach is threatening, laps after the game and everything else, right? Yeah. They're going to win this by 20.
They don't do laps after the game. They don't do laps after the game in the Division I. They don't. I mean, we used to do that stuff with the kids to, we just needed to tire them out after games.
Right.
I used to tell them, wait a second. You guys didn't expend all of your energy in the game. Guess what? Let's go. Let's take a lap. Let's do some sprints. And then it was a way for them to go, you know what? Coach is serious. Like everybody left. The parents are waiting by the fence for us. And I'd be like, hold on, we're not done yet. Game's over, but we're not done yet. And make them run. You have to kind of incentivize it a little bit.
It was like Miracle on Ice. Didn't they do that on Miracle on Ice? Again. Or was that after a practice? Yeah.
No, that was again. They lost that preseason or pre-tournament run-up, and they were looking in the crowd, looking at the girls, not paying attention to the game. And Herb Brooks said after the game, all right, everybody, let's go on the goal line. And blew his whistle. Down and back, down and back. I must have done 1,000 of those in my life. Over 1,000. They did it after a game. That was a great movie. Miracle?
Yeah.
That was a great movie. Yeah. Can you imagine if Dubs was in that movie? Like, do you think Dubs can skate? I don't think he can. There's no way Dubs can be in a hockey movie. Can't.
He's multi-talented.
He can't
You don't
skate.
think so?
No.
I'll be on Dubsy's side. I think he can put it. He can lace it up. He's not going to be, Wayne Gretzky, but I think
Wayne Gretzky.
He could probably skate better than Cam can golf. Let's put it that way. I would say that.
What do you think? Maybe. I don't know. Cam looks like he could hit a golf ball. Dubsy, we put on the bench and pretend like he's the backup goalie. And stand, sit on a bench with a hat, smile to the crowd.
He would look good as the backup goalie, yeah.
Right?
Dubsy coming up next.
those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome in. Hour number 2, in-game live, game day here on the grid. Scott and Dave for another 60 minutes as we check out limited schedule tonight, but we got a couple things to put some shekels on. We also got a little Monday night or Thursday night preview, Rams and 49ers, and if we get a time, we'll do over our 3-league, 3-team championship parlay that we're due now that the college football brackets are out. So a lot to get to, including our next guest, who's got nothing but winners on his plate, and I am supporting him 100% with a pair of skates on, Mr. Dubs Anderson. What's going on, Dubsy? How are you? You can
Happy
skate,
hump
right?
day, gentlemen. Look, I jump in here with so much optimism. I'm sitting there in the green room. I can see opposite picks. You got a fresh little trim, Scotty. You look fantastic.
Yeah.
You look absolutely amazing. You would have been the belle of that Christmas do last night. And then I get Sharapan chirping off as he does. Whoa, look at that lid on Davey. Davey Ice. LL Cool Sharapan is what they're calling him. But to answer the question prior to break, I can absolutely dial it up on the ice skates. I'm Charlie Conway, Mighty Ducks 2.0. Some would say right up there with the Connor McDavid of this year's generation. So that's what I bring to the table. And Sharapan, if we ever get the chance out on the ice, you're going in one direction, and that is straight up against the glass, my friend. I'm going to enjoy every single minute of it. Let's go.
Really? Okay. All right. That's fine. I'll make me the favorite. That's
Are they the
good.
listing glasses? Are they the listing glasses on a Wednesday night?
Wow.
You got the listing
It's
glasses.
got the Telly Savalas look.
You got
Telly
the dark
Savalas,
ones. Yeah,
right?
this is Kojak. Yeah, this is Kojak.
Yeah.
We can pull this off. Dubsy, I know that you cannot skate, but I know that you came tonight with a basketball play. Is this for real? Did you really come with a basketball play? This Wetzel, as good as he looks with this haircut and all this other stuff, has been calling this NBA Cup dopey, goofy. He has all these words, but I can't wait. You got something with this game tonight, NBA Cup?
Hey, and not to pump the own tires. I'll pump the own tires. Your boy gave out the Hawks a little early on the SportsGrid Network, grabbing that touchdown. So let's see if we can carry this thing full send there. But we got plays on top of plays, Davey. I'm not a fan of the NBA Cup as well. The courts are an absolute gimmick. This is the Cirque du Soleil, but at least we've got a bit more juice for these quarterfinals. So a little matchup, a little sprinkle coming up. Golden State Warriors going against the Rockets, who've had the edge on them going through the first couple here. I love the look of the Rockets on the money line, minus 136. The juice is absolutely worth the squeeze, baby. And if we're looking for Freddie VanVleet, 3 or more threes made. So a couple of hoops plays out there in the association. Just having the 2 games, it's a smaller slate, but certainly a great way to put a couple of shekels in that pocket. We've got Cal Baptist, a little college hoops. You know your boy absolutely loves the college hoops on a Wednesday night, grabbing 14.5. I like this spot for them. They've been playing some good basketball, and they'll be allowed to keep it close enough. And, hey, the PGA Tour, the golf, there is no such thing as an off-season. We've got some gimmick tournament. This is right up there with the NBA Cup, a 54-holer, if you will. They're playing a scramble, a foursomes, and a mixed 4-ball. PGA Tour players and LPGA Tour, they're combining for this one. They've got no interest. There's no check or sum of money that gets these guys absolutely moving. They're there for sponsors' commitments, but I think we can cash a couple of tickets and a couple of pairings I absolutely love. Celine,
wait a second, Dubs, what's the format of this thing? What exactly? So it's a pairing and it's best ball?
Yeah, it's a little wacky if you ask me. It's the Grant Thornton Invitational. We're really searching for golf tournaments if they're playing this one. 54 holes of golf, LPGA, PGA Tour players. They can pick their partners. They combine. It's a scramble on the first day. It's foursome, so alternate shot on the second, and that final day, a little mixed 4-ball. So it's like you play, I play. We take the best score on each hole. 26 under par is likely going to win. And we saw last year, the Kiwi and Aussie, they prevailed. Lydia Ko, Jason Day, a very good chance of running it back.
Now, this is not the one Tiger Woods is going to partake in, is it?
No, that's the PNC. I mean, this really is the monster list of tournaments to close out the season. The PNC parent, sibling, used to be called the father and son. Tiger and Charlie have committed to playing in that one. Great to see Tiger Woods. We saw him down there in the Bahamas last week as tournament host. Obviously wasn't out on that golf course swinging, but looks like he will be pairing up with Charlie. So great to see them back on the course. Same time of year. This is when Charlie gets all the buzz. Could he go on to be exactly what we saw from the big cat himself and be one of the greats on the PGA Tour? There's a long way between now and then, but certainly a little different look as we round out a calendar year here on the PGA Tour.
Dubsy, I mean, I want to ask you about the holiday plans and everything like that, but in the immediacy of us and being here in SportsGrid, and tomorrow there's a pretty big game, and it involves the Rams and the Niners, and I know you'll be watching it, talking about it, looking at it. The Rams, where you're at, just came off just an unbelievable game against the Bills. Any thoughts before if you have to get up and do the early line? I mean, you got to get to bed because you're up early. You're here with us late. I just want to hit you with that one. Any first thoughts on that one right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the 49ers are a 6-7 football team. They've been plagued by injuries all season long. What we saw last year, we're seeing again. The Rams are absolutely rolling. And I think they're still within striking distance of taking out the NFC West. And if you're looking for a flyer to go on and cause a bit of trouble in the playoffs, Matty Stafford, McVay, this offense, they can run it with the best of them. If they get that fair weather, if they can get them out there on a fast track, we saw it going against the Bills. So I think the Rams are live up there at Santa Clara for Thursday night football. They're grabbing right around a field goal there. And I think this total is far too heavy. I think Kyron Williams will set the table here for the Rams, and they will try and keep Purdy off the field. And with that, I don't think we see 49.5 points. We've seen that number skyrocket. I think the run game will be a key feature here for Thursday. Systems quarterback Brock Purdy, without his weapons, I think he's going to struggle to get things going. That locker room, it's starting to blow up. Deebo Samuel, he's telling us he's still there. He just ain't getting the rock. So I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing for San Fran on Thursday.
Yeah, this must be the week. You got Neighbors with the Giants, wide receiver complaining. You got Debo complaining. You got A.J. Brown complaining. This is the week where the wide receivers all kind of come out of the closet. All right, Dubs, Dave and I would do a 3-team, 3-league championship parlay, right? We take 3 different sports, and we take 3 teams in each one and put them in a round-robin parlay, 27 combinations. If I gave you that scenario for college football, what 3 teams would you be taking to win the college football championship.
Better say Penn State.
Okay, taking a look at the bracket, Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, they've been an absolute freight train. I think they go on to win the whole thing, and you're still getting a good price there. Boise State, Ashton Jeanty, I think they're making up the numbers. Penn State, that could be the team to watch there. The Nittany Lions to make a bit of a run at a ShamWow kind of price. And as we saw last week, Georgia looking fantastic. A little surprised from what we saw out of the Longhorns there last weekend. A little disappointing, but I still think Oregon Ducks, quack, should be the team to beat for the outright. But they're the three players I'm looking at. Penn State, Davey, you got to love what you've seen. Haven't they overachieved coming in for this year? Maybe the party's not done yet for Penn.
I don't think so. I hope not.
You disappointed me, Dubs. I got to tell you, I got to hop in here. He came out flying, ripping you, Dave, challenging you, really taking you to the task.
No,
and he ends the interview with a little ass kissing like that. Wow. Really, Dubs. Very, very disappointed. Penn State, really, Dubs? Out of all
It's
the
all
teams.
I do. I disappoint people. It's all I do, boys.
To the best, Dubsy.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Dave for another 45 minutes or so. We got Cam Stewart coming up in about a half hour. I will tell you, thanks again to Dubsy Anderson. This is just like, boy, welcome to gambling, right? Final from St. John's Carnesecca Arena. I don't think it's at the Garden. No, because the Knicks are playing at the Garden. St. John's 99.
Okay.
Bryant 77 as a
22.
1.5 point dog. Bryant loses by 22.
Wow. That's unfortunate if you have the dog in that spot. That's
You think?
unfortunate. Yeah, that's
That was a
I mean,
4-point game
yeah,
at halftime, Dave.
you had
That
it
was
all
a
the way. Yeah.
the whole game.
You
The
were
whole
right
way.
there.
You
You
think
had
we're
it. You
winning
were covered the
outright?
whole game. Well, I mean, we said that, but you knew
Well,
they weren't winning outright. They weren't.
right.
But like, you would have think they would have covered the spread. But I'm telling you, these second halves. That's speaking of which. How are we looking with Kentucky? We're up 55-47, 58-49 now, with 12 minutes to go. So we're up 9.
Avalanche.
We need to get going. I want to win this thing comfortably. I don't want to have to be down to the end of the show. Cam's talking about things and this and that. Let's go on about a 10-0 run right now. Let's get this thing over like 19-20, and we don't got to worry about a late cover like toothpaste. Is that what you call them? Colgate toothpaste?
Colgate toothpaste. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bulldogs of Bryant. You should have just got on the bus, just went home, and just said, "That's it. We'll take a 4-point loss at halftime."
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
A lot of fighting, by the way, going on this Ranger Buffalo Sabres game. I got on over here on my corner. Very nice. Only 1-0 though. I tell you, I didn't really have an over or under play on this, but I must say they came out buzzing. I got this, there's not much on, so I'm watching this one, and I would have bet like in-game line over because just they were going up and down the ice. It's still, here we are, 1-0, 10 minutes left to go in the third. So both goalies doing well.
I got the Hawks and Knicks on. It's 95-87 with 5 minutes to go. The Hawks are leading. They went on that run, and they have maintained that lead. They are getting open looks. They are making threes, and got to tell you, like they're staying calm about it. And New York crowd's getting a little restless. They were big favorites going into this game. I mean, they're not even getting rebounds right now.
How many
Hawks are going to
people
win
are
this
there?
game.
On the
It
Long
looks like
Island
it's sold
Railroad.
out.
Yeah, they
Looks
probably
like it's
gave
sold
those
out,
tickets
huh?
away. On the train ride in, there was, no exaggeration, there was one person from Long Island with a Knick jersey on. One. Normally for a Knick home game, you'll get about, 100 coming in. But when you got to buy these tickets, that's what they always say, when you have to buy these tickets separately. This was not part of the season ticket package because they didn't even know they were going to be in this thing, right? Tough to draw.
Right.
It is. So
why?
FanDuel's got me
It's
locked
another
out here.
game. Oh boy!
I'm trying to verify I'm
What
a
are you
human. Not even like
That's
finding
frustrating.
it. I can't even get in. I'm press and hold one of those goofy things to verify you're a human. I've been doing it for 20 times now. How many times you want me to do it, FanDuel? I'm human. I may not act like it, but I am.
You're stuck in that there's a whole process now with these apps. There's an extra step to verify that you're human because listen, there's some people with some bots. No, the bot betting is very, very real. This is a major, thing in the gambling community and stuff. Like you can basically build a bot to bet and set it on certain times. It'll scan lines and find you the best number. Trae Young just made an unbelievable pass. It's 103-89, and people are headed for the Long Island Railroad. They're leaving the building. 103-89 with 3 minutes to go. That's 11 and 3, 14 points. That's a wrap. I think it's done.
By the way, I got another bet for you. You can pass along to the boys.
Oh,
how come we don't have in-game live grand salami bets? Too difficult to come up with a number?
Because
I'd like to do that. Because sometimes you miss the first game. Sometimes there's an afternoon game, or a 6:30 game.
Right.
Why no in-game line on Grand Salami? They got everything else.
Listen, we'll call it. Can we call it the S&W hockey salami?
There you go.
I think we need naming rights. I think it's a great idea. It's not even that hard to do. The S&W salami. There you go.
I like salami. I'm a cold cut guy. A little super
for
soda.
sure.
Right?
Oh, love that.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's the best.
It's not good. I know it's not good for you.
You like
because there's so much fat.
No, it's
not.
not. It's not. It's not. You got to limit it. As you get older, you got to limit it. It's no good. But like,
keep it at the holidays.
You like capastrami? You like capastrami? Pastrami?
It's okay. It's I like. Well, I call it hopastrami. Hopastrami or what's capastrami?
Okay, hopastrami's good. Yeah, capastrami.
Yeah,
it's capicola with it mixed in there.
Right.
Capicola's good. That's another one. I'm not a bologna guy. I never liked bologna. Do you like bologna as a cold cut?
No. No. I like liverwurst though. I like liverwurst. What's the other one besides a higher not supersonic? What's the one above that? Oh, liverwurst is good.
Nobody likes liverwurst. You like liverwurst?
Yeah. I do. Yeah. It's got to be thin and you like spread it out. Yeah.
Ah. Yeah. Oh, it's
absolutely.
No good. Oh, I do. No. Ugh.
I don't like
you
the
like a
olive
Reuben?
oil.
You like a Reuben sandwich?
Yeah. I like a Reuben. Yeah. I'll eat a Reuben. Reuben's not like one of my all-time favorites, but I like a Reuben. Little sauerkraut.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh.
All right. 3-league, 3-team championship parlay. Let's see if we can build one tonight. Coming up next.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome back in-game live. Game day here on the grid. Couple of updates here before we get to our 3-league, 3-team championship parlay. 2 goals on the ice. One by the Rangers. They didn't outlead Buffalo 2-0 with 5 minutes left, so that's basically over. And then Ottawa scored again 4-0 now after 2 over Anaheim. We're sitting on the under 6.5. Oddly enough, they're giving you the under 5.5 plus money, plus 142. So I don't know if we're going to get 3 goals. So our under 6.5, Dave, is looking halfway decent, I would think. But knowing Anaheim plays tomorrow, I'm guessing they're going to call off the Dogs, right? That under 5.5 is tempting, plus 142. I don't know, if Anaheim scores, then they'll pull the goalie down 3. But if they don't, I'll count on Ottawa not scoring twice.
Which scenario is more likely in your mind?
Ottawa not scoring twice.
Okay.
And win 5-0.
I agree. That's I was thinking, because once you get to the second period and no goals, it's really tough now to I'm not saying the shutout is favored, but I really like the shutout opportunity.
Yeah.
As the Knicks get it down to 7. It's 107-100 Hawks. That's it. It's a wrap. They're still fouling. Why would they foul? That's crazy.
Someone must have the over.
They just fouled. I don't know what that was. It was a foul.
Is yelling, I got the over. I got the over.
I got the over. Foul. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, that thing
right,
closed really high.
Yeah.
That closed 230.
It's like 220.
It's not even
yeah.
close. Yeah.
I think that's now 2-1 under. The Orlando game went over, but that was only a crazy fourth quarter. The second game went under, cost us our SGP, and now this one went way under. So you might be right. Rockets, Rocket over-under is now down to 220.5. They lowered a point. Interesting. All right, let's do our SGP here. Type of SGP, not really same game, but same league. 3-team, 3-league championship parlay. We'll start with college football. So we put 3 teams, college football, college basketball, NFL, put them in a round robin, 27 different combinations. Put it in for $1, cost you $27. Put it in for $10, cost you $270. We hit all 3, and as we did early this summer, you're going to cash a nice 150 to 250, depending on what teams we pick, parlay, because that's all it takes, boy. It doesn't take a whole lot for this thing to go way up. So let's start with the easiest one, since there's only 12 teams. We get 3, or we could go with 2 and save a couple of dollars. But where do you want to go with our first of 3 choices? College football.
I personally think we should look at either 2 on the one side of the bracket that doesn't feel as obvious, and the third one on the other side of the bracket. So there's the bracket. So if we pick Georgia, all right, we can only pick maybe one other team on that side or no team on that side and try to get the semifinal nailed. Okay?
Right.
So at this point, I'm biased, and I have to throw out Penn State. Although I think they're going to get to the Final Four.
Right, they do have a nice draw, I must admit. So, in fact, I don't think you could have, outside of maybe playing Arizona State, but I'd rather play Boise State than Arizona State. So I think they got the beautiful draw, SMU and Boise. So, but then they got to play the monster in Georgia.
So we pick Georgia and Penn State, trying to get, if that you think is the Final Four, the final 2 on that side, we pick both of them. Right. So we have a team in the final. Is that the move? And then we pick the winner of the other side, which might be chalky if we take Oregon, but if we take an upset, it's going to pay pretty big.
It's funny. I do like Oregon, and they have the tough second game. I don't know about the third game. I think the third game might be easier than the second game because they're not losing to Texas, and they're not losing to Arizona State. But could they lose to Ohio State or Tennessee? That I could see. But I would be okay with Oregon and then Penn State and Georgia. I'd be okay with that. No Notre Dame. It's either got to be Notre Dame or Georgia.
I think it's Georgia. Yeah.
Wish we knew if Beck was playing. But I'll tell you, the backup looked pretty darn good. So
early reports I heard out here is he's not playing.
Really? All right, more coming up.
those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Telecolics, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Buffalo did score 2.5 minutes left, now trailing 2-1 against the Rangers. So we'll keep an eye on that. So we're putting together our 3-league, 3-team championship parlay. We're going to tentatively put in Oregon, Georgia, and Penn State. Are you set with that? Okay. Or do you want to maybe put in Notre Dame instead of Georgia? Backup quarterback. You said going for Georgia.
Well, if you think that can happen, I mean, that's going to make the price drastically different. Are you convinced that Notre Dame wins the first game?
No. They can't throw the ball.
Well, then,
and I'm a Notre Dame fan. They can't throw.
I know.
I don't think they're going to, I could see them winning a game or two, but when you can't throw for 150 yards, how are you beating 4 teams? Even though they have a great defense, championship defense, but somewhere along the line, their inability to throw is going to come back and bite them in the butt. So I'm okay with it.
All right. I mean, that's fine. Let's put this in pencil and we'll revisit this because the games aren't this week. So we don't. Right. So those are the 3 we're going with a maybe next to Georgia because we might go with Notre Dame. Because if Notre Dame wins that first game, but I need you to sell me on they're going to beat Indiana. Like, they're going to beat Indiana, right? Notre Dame?
I don't
keep
know.
making that face. You're not even convinced.
This Indiana team could score. They could score. They got a major chip on their shoulder. I love these teams. Although not that many people are talking about Indiana anymore. Indiana should be, thankful for SMU, right? SMU would be the one with the major chip on their shoulder. But that Indiana team's a pretty good team. I just don't like Notre Dame's inability to throw the ball. I just don't. So, but I think they should win. But will they?
Okay.
And then go travel and go beat Georgia? I don't think so. I don't like Texas. Yeah, I don't like Texas. Don't like Ohio State. They showed the true colors. It's amazing the odds on some of these teams, Dave. I mean, look at this is like these odds are bigger now than they were before the season. Indiana is 40-1, SMU 40-1, Arizona State, which is playing great, 60-1, Boise 60. I don't think they were that high at the beginning of the year, or if they were, it was barely. I mean, what did they accomplish? Nothing. with the boys in Vegas. It's remarkable, right? I mean,
well, no, now you know the path. So when you know the
Right.
path, this is one of the easiest things for us to do as someone who, is an odds maker. You can just kind of do the 4-game parlay. If this happens and they play them, it's this. If they play them, it's this. So it just becomes a mathematical equation. If you have a 12-point dog, then you're plus 650, and then you go to a 4-point dog, and then so you're plus 200, and you just do the math, work it out. It sounds easier than it is. I don't mean to make it like it's like everybody can do it, but you can come up with the price and then put the vig into it, and you come up with this. And yes, now that you know the path for Boise State, it's probably a lot harder, and the price should be higher, despite the fact that they're in the tournament, only have to win 3 games. They probably got to win the 3 hardest games. So the odds should be high. You want to do NFL?
We'll put those.
We got time to do some NFL, right?
Yeah. All right. So we'll keep those 3: Georgia, Oregon, and Penn State. NFL. Where do you want to go? NFL 3 teams. Got to put Kansas City, right? Or
no.
Home field advantage. Who's beating them in Kansas City? Got to get the bye. You only have to win 2 games. They got a 2-game lead on the bye. So,
all right, let's do this. Process of elimination. You see the Super Bowl winner odds right there in front of us. Go from the bottom up. Do you think the Chargers can win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl?
No.
You think the Houston Texans can win 3 games on the road to win the Super Bowl?
No.
You think the Baltimore Ravens can win 3 games on the road to get to the Super Bowl?
No. Texans would be 2 because they would get a home field advantage.
Oh, Texans would be 2, right? But they should, right.
First
okay,
game
I thought those were the 3 road teams. Yeah. So, okay. So we've eliminated those 3. So that leaves us really 3 options: the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Steelers. I think we pick the 2 teams that aren't named Kansas City, and then we pick an NFC team. That would be my thought process.
I would do, this is what we did with the podcast. I would do Kansas City because they're going to get home field advantage, which means they get the bye, which means they're only playing 2 games before they get to the Super Bowl. And who is capable of beating the Chiefs in Kansas City? I'm not a big fan of Buffalo. The only one I would give credit for are your Steelers, believe it or not. I would go Philadelphia in the East, Kansas City in the East, or Philadelphia in the NFC. Geez, look at this Buffalo 3-2. If you're sitting on the under, it's 1-0 with 5 minutes left to go in this dopey Buffalo game, and it's out 3-2 with 30 seconds left. I would take Philadelphia to win the NFC, and then the 2 in the AFC would be Kansas City and Pittsburgh. I don't like Detroit.
Wow.
Dan Campbell's an idiot. Nice guy, but I have no faith in him. I just no faith. Sean McDermott's an even bigger bozo after what he pulled this past weekend, which was just moronic. So I'm not putting hard-earned American money on him. So I'd be okay with your Steelers, believe it or not. They need to win the division, though. That's the key. I want the division winner of the AFC North.
So for our NFC entries, you said you don't want Detroit. You'd rather have Philadelphia. Would you entertain Minnesota and or Green Bay?
Again, you're talking about having a win on the road. I would if they weren't going to be a wild card team, but they're going to be wild card teams.
Okay.
So that's tough winning 3 straight road games. That's why I would. I'd take Green Bay out of the 2, but realistically,
I would take Minnesota. I would rather have Minnesota.
Sam Darnold going to win 3 road games? He stinks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, next year when he's on pick a team, it's something when he's on the New York Giants next year, and he's got more interceptions than touchdown passes. You're going to realize that Sam Darnold stinks.
Sometimes it's the offensive line or something that stinks. It's not necessarily Sam Darnold. I don't know.
How was he
I
with
think
Carolina?
Minnesota's defense
How was he with the Jets?
got hit a lot.
Stump.
You get hit all the time. You got nobody to throw to.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't do that. I'll put your Steelers in before I put the Twinkies in.
So 2 NFC or 2 AFC. If we're going to do 3, which side do you want 2 of?
Well, if you give me Kansas City, I'll do the 1 AFC. If you don't give me Kansas City, then we got to do 2 AFCs.
All right, that's fine. I'll give you Kansas City.
Okay.
I'll give you Kansas City. That's fine.
5-1, not bad odds, too. We can't, Now, who do you want in the NFC? Which 2?
So we have Kansas City and Pittsburgh?
Oh, just Kansas City.
Is that what you said?
No, just
Oh,
Kansas
so
City.
we got to pick 2
Unless
in
you
the
want
NFC.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'll give you Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh. I would take Pittsburgh. I think they can go in there. I think they have the recipe, what it takes to beat Kansas City. But if you want 2 AFCs, then you only have 1 NFC.
Philadelphia Eagles.
I like that.
So we
Kansas
got 1
City, Philadelphia.
NFC and 2 AFC, Kansas City and Pittsburgh.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll do the college basketball next. Damn, coming up. That's
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddies, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, "Hey, I never got the text." And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the grid. Not trying to get anybody into any trouble, guys, but
okay, Wetzel. Oh, here we go.
I don't know if I should bring this
that
up
didn't
or
start
not.
very well there, Scott.
Yeah, I know, right?
Where are we going? Where are we going? Sabres?
Well,
topic number 1.
As far as I knew,
what do you got?
Hold on. As far as I know, FanDuel is not allowed to put betting lines up on New York colleges, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I could bet Wetzel versus Sharapan in a thumb war if I want.
Yeah.
I get every damn game in the world. I don't know about you guys, but
we don't. So Yeah. The problem is maybe they don't realize Colgate is in New York, but they're giving me a Kentucky Colgate line right now. Interesting.
Can I get 32 and a half tubes of Colgate? Or what are we getting? Scott?
I don't know what we're getting. We're getting 12 and a half down brushes? 14.
How about 28 and a half cavities? Can I sell you on Colgate or not? Scott, this is the opposite pick of the night. And I know you missed me because you're playing. Oh, here comes Moron again. He's first of all, I didn't bet the Sabres tonight. I bet the under and the plus 1.5. So I did something smart.
Sweat it out.
And I'm on the set, but now for a 4-game parlay, I got the Senators minus 1.5, but I need over 6. And right now it's 4-0. So I need more goals in that game. But I got one for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me preface this by saying Scott Wetzel calls himself Opposite Picks. He is Opposite Picks Junior compared to this idiot right here. That's me. And I got one for you that's going to blow your mind. Cal Baptist, plus 14. Why is the line so low, you say? I smell something weird with Cal Baptist and San Diego State. Scott, what happened here? All of a sudden, these guys are covering numbers and you're dangling a fish like that? I'm going to bite on the dog, and hopefully at midnight, Morency, you and everybody else is not laughing at me. Small play on Cal Baptist. NBA, I'm on the Houston Rockets to get it done tonight against Golden State. Atlanta didn't have the stones to take the money line, Scott. I wish I did, because that would have been an opposite pick, too. Everybody and their mother was on the Knicks. Give me the Rockets. That's what I'm looking at right now. No more hockey left tonight, guys, so I guess we can bet on, something in the Philippines basketball. We'll figure it out with Gabe later on tonight.
Do you know Cal Baptist's nickname? The Cal Baptist?
I think it's the Lancers. Is it the Lancers? Or,
how does he know this? How does he
I don't
do
think
it?
is it
it's
really?
The Lancers. Yes.
No,
it's the Lancers.
No,
it is.
I'm really just is it really?
It's the Lancers.
It is the Lancers. Yeah. Hey,
see?
One for me. Actually, I didn't even look. I didn't look. I thought you were going to give me the other. There's another one. Another team playing San Francisco tonight. Like, don't even get me started. There's no point spread on that game. It's Cal something. I think it might be like a school to train like an equestrian school or something. I got no idea. But they're playing basketball at like 11 o'clock. I looked at it and went, that seems made up. Dave, you see that school name?
I'll tell you in a second.
I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it.
It's brutal.
I got to ask you
not
about,
even real.
We asked
Stanislaus State. If you know who Stanislaus State's nickname is,
it sounds like coleslaw to me. Give me 72 and a half. Sorry, Dave, what were you saying?
School. No, we asked Colby earlier. I'm wearing the North Carolina stuff. Bill Belichick's going to coach college football at the University of North Carolina.
Why?
What do you think about that?
I'm not interested like other people are. Bill Belichick had his whole life in the NFL. What, do you think he's going to motivate kids who don't even remember who he is when he won with the Patriots? They got rid of an older guy in Mac Brown. I have a different perspective, and nothing against Bill. He's done it all. But it really surprises me that he'll go to the college game. And I'll tell you this, Dave. What does he get frustrated with? Little mistakes. What do kids make? Lots of little mistakes. You get my drift? This thing might start off well. Let's remember one thing, too, with Mac Brown. It started off great, and it went, and I like Mac Brown. As a human being, he seems like if I could take guys who are coaches and go for beers with him, he's on my list because he seems like a nice guy. I don't know about Bill. I don't know what they're trying to do, but I'll tell you one thing. Everybody might have a great take. Oh, Bill Belichick's going to the Tar Heels. I really don't care. I to be honest with you, I think they should hire somebody, a hungrier guy from a smaller school in Division I AA that did better. Look at all these coaches that take programs to newer heights, like when they grab them at a smaller school. Like, you tell me, Scott, what is Bill Belichick bringing to the table with North Carolina? This is my take, and Cam's thoughts do not express the thoughts of most people at SportsGrid. But I'm just saying, why? Like, I guess he's getting a paycheck. He wants to stay in football. Maybe it's a pipeline to the NFL. But how long do you think this thing it might start well? How long do you think it's really going to last? Do you think he'll get through his 5 years? I'm thinking no.
No.
I'll make that bet right now. There's no way. There's no way.
The only reason, Cam, I thought he was going to do it was so he get his son the head coaching job, that he would be there for 2 years or so, and then the son takes over.
Great call, Scott. That was like plan B, too, on the list. Yeah, he'll get his son in there, special teams coach with the Patriots, him and Bill kind of travel, and then maybe if he does a good enough job, he can hand down the Belichick name. But to ask him to last 5 years at North Carolina just seems like an absolute pipe dream to me, Dave. Like, that's my take, and I think Scott kind of feels the same way. It's a surprising hire. When I heard the news, I was kind of like, why? And hey, it's good for North Carolina. They got a great big name. Their program was going down the tubes after a couple of great years. Remember those years? They were on fire. Like, they were going to bowl. Like, they were a very good football team, and then it steadily got worse. And they should be an ACC power, but I think it's kind of weird.
And they've had three NFL quarterbacks too, with Mitch Trubisky and Sam Howell. They've had good quarterbacks.
Yeah. How have they done?
For college, right?
North Carolina quarterbacks. Hey, Sam Howell. Hey, he's a backup. Mitch Trubisky. Remember, Dave? We'll refund.
Well, they were
81
good in
tickets
college,
on Mitch Trubisky. MVP. Rip that baby up. Like Paul Bovey says, put that one under your pillow and light it on fire. I'm telling you, like, yeah, they not great call, Scott. Good college quarterbacks, but really? I don't know.
The jury's still out on Drake May. He finished at North Carolina, and he's doing okay right now in North Carolina.
No, he's doing better. Yeah, Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young will have a better. Bryce Young, the way he's playing now, if Carolina can get it right, I think Bryce Young will have a better career than Drake May, despite his. You
got 10 seconds.
Size.
San Francisco and the Rams.
San Fran over. San Fran in the over for me, and I don't like you guys. You got to start putting some respect on the Seahawks name. I don't want to hear about this Philadelphia and Green Bay stuff. Seahawks +3 over the Packers. Get it right.
They are going to win on Sunday.
You're damn right they are, Dave. And I'm going to have tears of pleasure and dollar signs. Hallelujah.
Those guys, those rookies, the Pacom Daddiers, the Jacob Toppins, right? The Tyler Koleks, those young kids. He wants to get them that check. It means a lot to Brunson. And honestly, folks, it's going to mean a lot to this New York Knicks franchise that's never been back to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals since 1999.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Uncle Stevie can just walk up the aisle like he's at the supermarket. I'll get a starting pitcher here, I'll get a closer here, I'll get a first baseman here, and he'll just keep throwing things in the cart because there is no limit.
Now he's gone, so they got to go get arms to make that team better. Because the bottom line was they were just outclassed by the Dodgers. Let's face it, they got their ass beat.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this. I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe. Like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
All right, welcome back to In-Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Thanks again for Cam Stewart joining us. We'll take over top of the hour with Gabe Morency as they take you for the next three right here on SportsGrid Radio and SportsGrid TV. So, last left you, Rockets, by the way, Golden State just getting underway. In BYU, leading Fresno 44-27 at the half, so pretty good start. I know Colby gave out BYU earlier tonight on our program, so halfway decent start there. So Dave and I were doing our three-team, three-league championship parlay there, Dave. So we got the football in, we got the NFL in. You wanted to dabble on a little college basketball. This would be the toughest, I would think, because there's so many teams. But college basketball, if we had to do it today, where would you be going, you think?
Can Connecticut three-peat? Like, is this an over-adjustment with the price? I mean, I have a soft spot for them because we had them last year. But this is the best price you'll get Connecticut, I don't know, all season. Like, they're not going to continue to go backwards, I don't think. But the damage has already been done. They're not winning every game or winning every game by double digits, so the price is over-adjusted. I mean, 20-1 boosts this parlay into crazy, crazy levels if you use them. But I like the fact that last year there was one clear-cut favorite. I don't think there's one. Look at this board. Auburn, Dookie Pukies. I know you're not going to let us use them. Houston, we can't use them. Can we? I don't think so. When push comes to shove, they cannot score enough. You'll use Duke?
Well, I think they're good. And Coach K's not there. Yeah.
Wow.
So, they are good.
On our futures thing?
I know. If we put the black cloud on them, that would be difficult. But I'd hate to not win because Duke decides to win. And the NCAA, they're going to give them a number one seed. They're going to give them they're going to give the easiest region. They're going to put all the good teams in all the other regions or on the other side of their bracket, like is the latest thing the NCAA does. They say, they got 5-6 great teams. Yeah, but they're all on the other side of the bracket. So they're only going to play one of those 5-6 teams. You're going to have 8 good teams. What's the difference? Duke's only playing one of them. So they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. So we ought to put Duke in there 9-1. I'm okay with that. I don't want Houston. If they couldn't win last year, they're not winning this year.
Right, and I think we can put a line through Gonzaga. I don't think I want them.
Yeah.
What about Tennessee?
Alabama? Tennessee?
Yeah. I mean,
how far did they go last year? Alabama, Sweet Six, Elite Eight.
Third round they lost. Yeah, going to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, going to Elite Eight.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Auburn. I think we have to. I mean, the SEC just beat up the ACC, right?
ACC.
I mean, they just won almost every game. So I'm good with taking 2 teams from there and 1 from the Big 12. Right? The Big 12 is
no Connecticut then?
Like you want Duke.
Or you want to bring in
I think Tennessee, I think Connecticut, and then pick a team on the left. Or pick your Alabama. That's the ones I would pick. UConn, Tennessee, and Alabama. We'll
Alabama or Auburn. Yeah. One good thing about college basketball is even the favorite, which right now is Auburn, is still 8-1. Like you don't need to necessarily look at the odds and say, let's go with this because it's a little bit. I mean, even 8-1 is like great odds when you put them in a 3-league parlay. So it's really legitimately, who do you think? I mean, all are good. I like Bruce Pearl. He was a little goofy, but I do like him. I like Alabama. Is Alabama going to face a team that is like Houston is going to slow the ball down and throw and give them fits? That's the problem. That's you got to fast forward this thing.
We just saw that. They just did that to somebody.
Yeah.
And they lost. So.
Right.
Do you think I look like Kojak when I wear these glasses? Do you think,
Let's see the Kojak. Did we put that together?
I don't know.
No,
we didn't have it.
We didn't do it?
Yeah.
We didn't have
it was too
soon. Okay.
We didn't have
All right. For Saturday.
You think
for
so?
Friday. Oh,
Yeah,
you're a
we'll have
dead
to do
ringer. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's unreal, isn't it?
You just need the lollipop. Where's the lollipop? Friday, you bring the lollipop.
100% I'll have it.
Auburn, Tennessee, Connecticut. Those are going to be good. Okay. Finalize it on Friday.
do we have a fantasy